Hi everyone, and today we're going to be looking at drilling, and the aim of this tutorial is to actually create a piece of stock with a drilling pattern in there and actually set up the drill holes in the stock and the different settings you can use to actually create those drill holes. So I'm going to start with a new project which I'm in at the moment, and I'm going to go off to the sketch, and all I'm going to do is literally create just a triangle or a square. Go for a square actually. Go for a square on there. Actually, let's put a body on. So it's crown and part design. Create body, and then create sketch through there. So we've got something to add to it, and choose the XY plane as usual. Hit OK. And now we're at our center of origin. So I'm just going to create a simple square on here, and I'm going to give this square some dimensions so we can figure out what drill bit we're going to be using. So go from there to there. At the moment it's 29 millimeters. So I'm going to go for 100 millimeters. And I think I'm going to just do the same here, but for about 50 millimeters. So we've got a piece of rectangular stock to start with. So this is all good. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to pad the piece of material, and I'm going to give it a 20 millimeter pad. So remember these values, so you want to remember that 20 millimeter because I'm going to put some holes in this in a second. And I'm just, because I'm on a laptop, I'm using the touchpad down here. See this touchpad? And I'm using pinch and zoom on the actual touchpad itself, and I'm using shift to move this about on the screen. So I'm just going to get this centered on screen somewhere about there. Actually, I can use, that's better. I can use the little tool to center himself. Fits the whole content of the screen. Tool at the top, very useful there. So now I'm going to select the face of the rectangle, and press Alt. I can see what I've actually done. So I can see I've padded this out. So I've selected the face, and I'm going to create a sketch on that face. And I'm going to create a series of small holes on this face. And I'm going to go for around about 10 mil. Should I go 10 mil or 20? Let's go 10. So create a circle, and I'm going to drop this down to constraint the diameter. No, I have to escape that first. There we go. So I'm going to constraint the diameter and select the actual circle. I'm going to set that to 10 millimeters. Okay, and I'm going to create 2 or 3 of these on this piece of stock. One and that one. So I've got, yeah, I'm going to create 4. I'm going to stick them in each corner. I'll escape that and set the diameters of these to 10. Oh, come on. I'll position these in the corner around about there. And the same with this one. Just put these in the corner, and then we're going to create our drilling pattern. And it is as simple as this. It's you first create your holes, your guides of where the holes are going to be, and then you jump off into the part design and create your drill patterns in there, so your holes for those, and then you straight into the path workbench to sort those out. So I'm going to close that now, and I've got those in there. Just need one. Just need one of those. and click on the hole, and those are created holes there now. And at the moment they're a diameter of 6, because you can see they're actually smaller. So we'll set this to 10. So we've got 10mm holes in there. And let's have a look at the depth. The depth is all the way through, because the depth here we've gone 25mm. Now I don't want that 25mm. I'm not sure if I want to go all the way through. So if I hit that, it's 10mm. So we're going in halfway now. You can see that on the bottom also you've got like a little point. So that shows you that that's the point of the drill bit, because you'll have a bit of a contour there after drilling if you're not going all the way through. So I'm going to go, actually I'm going to go 15mm. So it's not, it's 150, that's the reason why it's gone all the way through. There we go, 15mm down. So we're not all the way through, got 5mm to spare, a 20mm stock. I'm going to leave all this as is, because we can do counterbore and countersink there if we wanted to. But I'm going to leave those in there. We can also do threading as well, but I'm not going to get into those. These are just standard holes. So we've got diameter of 10mm and depth of 15. So just keep a note of that. Probably forget about that in a minute. So that's done. Now we can jump over to the path workbench, and now we'll actually create the job and the path to actually cut these holes into here. So we just use the whole icon up here to actually create these in our part design. We just set the settings for our holes, the diameter and the depth. And now we're going to jump over into the path workbench, and the first thing I'm going to do in there is set up my tools. So I've got my tool manager here. Click on that. I'm going to clear out the current tools I've got, because I want to actually start from scratch so you can see what you're doing. I'm going to click on new tool, and this is important, change the type to drill. So now we've got the drill, and it's showing you what to set here. So we've got the diameter and the height, and also we've got the angle of the actual tip down here, but we're not going to worry about that. We're mainly concerned about the diameter and height. So obviously for a 10mm hole in diameter, I'm going to have a 10mm drill bit, and here you'll place the actual height of the drill. I'm going to go for 100mm in that one. Obviously you use a drill bit that will be sufficient in length to actually use on your machine, actually get to the depth that you need. So that's all good, and I'm going to change the name of this to 10mm drill. And I'm going to click OK. So I've got my drill in here now, so I'm just going to OK that. Don't worry about selecting it, because next I've got to create my job. So I'm going to click on the create path job object icon here, and I'm going to tell it to use the body. So that's the body that we just created. I'm going to click OK on that, and our job actually comes up. So I'm going to click OK for the default on there. Now, so we've got our job here, and it's pulled in a default tool. I'm now going to actually add a drilling path to this. So if I come up the top here, so create a path drilling object from feature of the base object. So if I click on that, and you notice I didn't actually select anything, but it's actually selected the base object there. Now if I jump to the base geometry, this is where you start adding in these holes. Now most people will actually click and then go add, and then click on the next one and then go add. But if we've got like something like 30 or 40 holes in there, then that is not going to suffice at all. That's going to take us ages. all you need to do is hit the reset button here, and what that will do is pull in all the holes that have been set to a hole for drilling. So you don't have to worry about adding them, just hit reset and those all get placed in there for you. So those holes have all been placed in there. And let's have a look at what else we've got here. I'm not going to worry about base locations. This is where you can actually add an XY coordinate of a hole manually if you desire. I'm going to worry about the depths. Now the operation, this one is selected the default tool at the moment. So only one tool in there, so I'm going to apply that at the moment and click OK, and I'm going to have a look at my tools. Set up a tool in here, and I've got the 10mm drill bit. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to create tool controller in there. So that's good. So OK that, and now I should be able to get rid of this default tool. So it's saying that it's linked to an operation, or so it's linked to my drilling and the job. So I'm just going to go no for that and actually open up my operations. Double click on my drilling and drop this down to select the 10mm drill. Apply that, OK, and now I should be able to get rid of my default tool, like so. Click yes, that's gone, so no errors come up, and now I've got a drilling pattern on my piece of stock, and I can go in and simulate that, see what it looks like by simulate path G code in stock. This one here, click on that, hit play, and you can see the pattern that is drilled. So that's all good. I'm going to hit cancel that. So I'm just going to have a look at the drilling, and just going to go through what peck and dwell is. So peck is, if you think about, single alert, go away. Right, peck. So peck is basically what it sounds like. So what will happen is the drill piece will come down into the stock, and it will move up, and come down a bit more, move back up to clear the stock, and down, and it will keep on in this manner until it removes until it removes all of the stock. So it takes quite a bit of time to go down. So that's going to add more time to your drilling, and milling time for a piece of stock. Normally a peck will be like, you'll see it come up as 2D or 3D or 4D. People will be talking about peck, and that's 2 times the diameter of the actual drill piece itself. So the drill piece that went in was 10mm in diameter. So a peck of 1D will be 10mm of that. That would be 10mm. 2D will also be 20. Half D, 5, etc. So we can actually set this to what we want. So normally I'm going to go on there for 2D, which was 10mm, and that will allow the drill bit to come down and into the stock. You would use this on hard stock. That's quite hard to get through, so it just nibbles away at it. Also, if your machine can't handle a straight drill into the piece of material, or for the drill bit is of very soft metal or anything like that, so you'll use a peck in there, and to define the actual peck millimeters that you would use is all down to trial and error and your machine itself. The other setting we got in here is dwell. So dwell is the amount of seconds or milliseconds that we want to stop on our descent into the drilling space. So if you think of dwelling as a pause, basically that's what it is, but the tool is still revolving. So the reasons for that you would use a dwell is that if you're say if you're drilling a surface that needs to be airtight, say like a manifold, or you've actually placed a small spot drill into the top of the actual stock, and that drill has to be clean for air to be contained within, you would use a dwell, because what a dwell does is that as the drill goes in, it will go in, pause, and that will allow the drill to continue a couple of revolutions to actually clean up that hole, to make it nice and clean without any burrs or anything on there before coming back up. If you didn't dwell in that hole, you would actually come down and back out, and the end part of that drill, the very bottom of that hole, may have only got half to a quarter of revolution of drilling, meaning that you've got a burr in the bottom. So dwells are important if you want nice clean holes, especially if you're dealing with keeping an airtight seal or a liquid tight seal in there. So I'm not quite sure whether it's seconds or milliseconds on here, but this will actually allow I can't remember what G code it is, but it will actually place a G code for the dwell into your garble code to allow that drill piece just to sit on the bottom, to clean out the bottom of the actual hole itself. So I hit apply with all these, click OK. That's all been applied now. You can see that we've also got the lines of where the drilling holes, sorry, the actual bit will actually move. So we'll start from the center, moves to the corner, down, and then back out, and you can see the arrow is pointing in the direction of travel of that drill bit. So that is a very quick tutorial about drilling, and very simple to do. Just remember that when you set up a hole on here and you go to your drilling and you go to the base geometry, that you hit reset to actually catch all these holes. Therefore you don't have to click on each of these and go add. You can always remove one of these holes if you don't want them in there. So I'm going to click on model body face 9 and actually remove that, so I'm not actually drilling that hole. And if I want to add it back in, I just click on it and I go add. Now that's added the edge. Let's apply that, so that still allows the actual drill bit to go in there. If I removed one and hit reset, it will also come back in as well. So I can actually remove another of these by hitting, selecting one, holding down control, hit all those, hit the remove to remove all those, hit reset, and they all come back in with the actual path applied. Hit OK, and everything's good. Okay, so that's a quick tutorial. Hope that helps. Cheers for now.